Hello, and welcome back to the Double Booked podcast with Mallory.
And Kayla. Mallory, how are you doing today?
Kayla, I'm doing really well today. So excited to be talking about Heir of Fire. We haven't spoken in a little while because we had a little break. Not you guys didn't have a break, but we did.
Yeah, we made sure you guys didn't have a break and we batched 2 episodes 2 weeks ago because I've been traveling. I was back in Pittsburgh for one of my friend's bachelorettes and was in Philadelphia for a week, just kind of hanging out with some people. But I'm back. I am tired. I don't know why I decided to travel over daylight savings weekend, but
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think
anyways,
about that. Are you all
it
right?
was horrible.
Jet lagged from your Pittsburgh trip.
I was in the airport, I couldn't keep my eyes open. And I had never had that bad of a reaction to daylight savings time.
No.
But I think it was just the continuous up late. I'm usually a in bed by 9:30 kind of gal,
Yeah,
and this
it's
was
hard.
just it was a sleepover every night. So it's you're
You
you're
stay up.
excited, you want to stay up late. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun, but yeah, I am tired.
Recovery
It's
is
okay.
needed for sure.
Yeah. How has your last week been?
It's been fine. Yeah, I'm not as exciting as you. I did not do anything out of the ordinary. Yep,
That's
I'm
good
not a
though.
good podcast host. I have nothing to say. So,
No,
yeah,
because you did a lot of reading, I'm sure.
I sure did actually. I've been reading Nevernight by oh no, what's his name? I've been pronouncing it wrong the whole time, so I told myself, "Oh, I left it at work." I forget the author's name. But it's called Nevernight by J.
Interesting.
Kristoff.
I hope this isn't another joke that you're trying to pull
No,
with me. I hope the
no,
book
no.
is actually called Nevernight.
The book is called Nevernight, and I'm not super far into it, but it's really cool. It's really different. There's footnotes in the book, which is
Oh.
I haven't read a book that's not like a textbook that has footnotes in it, so this is cool. It's like his way of sneaking in background information, which I can't tell if I like it or not, but it's still interesting. I had this recommended to me like last summer by a friend of mine, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll go get it. And so I picked up the first one, and then I didn't start it until like last week. So the TBR pile is a real thing.
Yeah, for real. Along the same lines, though, of Throne of Glass, about an assassin in training. So the vibes are still right.
How's your reading been among your travels?
My reading has been good. So I finished Heir of Fire while I was on this trip, and amazing. I'm so excited to talk about it today. I'm gonna be honest, it lagged a little in the middle for me, but it could have been just because I was taking breaks. Sometimes if I'm just not reading continuously, if I'm just doing a chapter here, chapter there, I get out of it too much, and then it's just hard for me to get back in it.
That is a thing with this book. It lags a little bit. For me, honestly, it's the beginning. Like, can we get on with it?
And we'll talk about that because I have some thoughts about why that might be the case, but
Okay.
yes, so I finished Heir of Fire and now I'm on Assassin's Blade. So if you are reading the series as we instructed you to, Assassin's Blade will be the fourth book in the series. And that is so that it has the most emotional impact.
Yeah. Go in with the romantic reading version, and the intention is tears, the intention is pain, and we hope you're right
I'm
there
so
with us.
scared.
I
I'm
was
so
thinking about
scared.
this today. I was thinking about Assassin's Blade in the car on my way home today, and I'm like choking up. Like, I need to get a grip, but we haven't even talked about it yet. Okay, I don't know.
Stop.
That's okay. Yeah.
Wow. You never told me that. So Mallory actually told me that her favorite was Heir of Fire, and then afterwards she's like, "Nah, actually, it's Assassin's Blade, and
I
it's
really
gonna
like that
wreck
one.
you. And I'm like, okay.
Maybe I'm just being too emotional, but I don't know. Like something about that book, something happened, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we have to wait, but yeah, I'm ready to be broken. I'm not
Oh,
too far in yet. I think
okay.
I'm only on like the second story, The Assassin and the Healer, I believe is what
Yeah.
it is. Yes. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for
Me
that.
too.
But yeah, today we're digging into Heir of Fire. And yeah, I guess we're just gonna dive right in.
Dive right in,
So
head first.
yeah, head first, if you will. So where did we leave off? Well, we left off with a ginormous plot twist that had us gooped and gagged.
We find out that Celaena is Aelin Galathynius. I don't know. Is that how you say her name? Galathynius?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say Galathinius, yeah.
She is the heir to the throne of Terrasin, the Lost Queen. Celaena is being sent to Wendelin, which Kaol arranged because he knew she'd be safe there, because anyone with magic in Aderlin is in danger because the king is insane and is destroying anyone who's magic, and yeah, we'll get into that guy. So Celaena knows about word keys. She knows that there's 3 of them. We think the king has one of them, maybe more, we're not sure. And her goal is to find them and destroy them. So Kaol sends her off to Wendelin. He tells her, I love you. She says, thank you. Doesn't she say, I'm sorry?
The worst.
like, thank you, sorry,
Oh yeah, I think she
bye.
does say I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm sorry.
She says, sorry, I'm going to Wendelin.
I'm going to Wendelin.
I'm ripping your heart out, bye. And yeah, so she goes to Wendelin, and also Dorian is magic, and he needs to figure that out so he's not in danger from his father.
Yeah, because Dorian was like, you know, he has another son, so like basically implying that his father would kill him for that.
You're the
So
spare.
that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, the heir and the spare. So he's in a lot of danger right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Celaena is in Wendelin, which is south of Aderlin. We see her at the beginning, and she's not doing so hot. She has like little to nothing going for her. She's just kind of like sitting on this rooftop and like doesn't know what to do.
Eating flatbread.
Eating flatbread, and at one point she was like, I'm sick of this flatbread, and I was like, we are not the same, because
Never would
I mean
happen to
that
me.
sounds really good to me. Yeah, never would never be sick of flatbread.
No.
But anyway, Celaena is in Wendelin because the king has tasked her to retrieve their naval defense plans. He wants her to assassinate their king and prince at the annual midsummer ball. But she has a plan of her own, and her goal is to go seek out Queen Maeve, who is her aunt, and she wants to get answers from her about these word keys and how to destroy them. And also, she needs to find a way to keep the king from killing Kaol and Nehemia's families, because she's not going to carry out his mission. She has no plans to do what he has asked her to do, and he made his demands very clear and his rules very clear. In the meantime, she's still thinking about Kaol, and she's like back and forth in her feelings. But it seems like she's still like holding a flame for him. She has the amethyst ring that he gave her. And she says that she gambles it away every night, but she wins it back before sunrise because I guess it's just so important to her.
That's a dangerous game to play. But she's just
I
that
know.
good.
I'm like, if you
Amethyst?
really love him that much, yeah, like you
Yeah.
have no money to your name, girl. Like,
You know what's
Keep that.
confusing to me? Since we're here at the beginning of the book talking about how poor she is, she
Yeah.
is really rich. Like, she has money.
Yeah.
Also, it's just like you're being sent by the king on a mission to another land. Does he not give you money? Like, what? Does he just send her with the clothes on her back and say, good luck, you'll get it done? I just think this is weird for like the king's champion to be scraping the bottom of her little change purse, gambling away her ring as her only possession. It's just weird.
Yeah, that is true because last time we were talking about how the king, gave her a bunch of money and she went and like got all these like fancy dresses and
Yeah.
stuff and like the princess in her was coming
Yes.
out. So yeah, I'm not sure why she doesn't have any money to her name, but she doesn't.
Yeah.
So that's
Whatever.
interesting.
It makes her seem more unfortunate. So
Yeah, we feel so bad for you,
so
Celaena.
horrible.
We really do.
I don't have my dresses, my jewels. I only have flatbread and wine. My life is so hard. She's just moping around on rooftops. She's drunk on wine and flatbread and sadness. And then we meet our other main character of this book, really, Rowan Whitehorn. He is this huge Fey warrior, and he makes her. He's huge. They're all huge. They're all muscly. Yeah. I guess he, quote, emanates with temper, and she is kind of afraid at first, afraid of him. And it says in the book that this is the first thing that she feels in a while because she's so numb with sadness and wine. Yeah, we learn that Maeve sent him to go and bring her to her. Aunt Maeve wants to see Celaena. Kayla, what are your first thoughts of Rowan?
My first thoughts of Rowan, I don't know. I guess that he's huge.
He's huge.
I don't remember them saying that. That's funny. He's huge.
I feel like throughout the book he's described as like broad and muscular, and I just imagine that he's enormous. Like really tall and wide, just muscly.
Enormous. Enormous is the visual.
He's actually a giant.
I think he's a little bit intimidating. He's obviously, as you mentioned, ginormous.
He's huge.
That actually didn't stick out to me so much when I was first reading him, but yeah, I think he gives Celaena like a run for her money a little bit, which is a lot different from what we've seen from Kale and Dorian. Like they kind of just let her do her thing. They're actually more scared of her than she is of them. Yeah. So it's just interesting that somebody can like go toe to toe with her that has like as much power as she does. So yeah, he's definitely bringing an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, my first thoughts of him were that like he's an enormous jerk and he's just enormous. Why do I think he's so big? Like I feel like it says somewhere in there that he's like, okay, I'm not gonna be able to find it, but he's just constantly, broad and muscular, and I just imagine she's really short and he's really tall, but I don't know. Whatever, semantics.
Yeah,
but you're right.
Funny.
She's used to men like falling over themselves for her, and he's just like, the jig is up. Get in the car.
Right.
We're going to see your aunt.
Get in the car. And we also learn something that we didn't know about the Fae, which is that they possess a secondary animal form. Yeah. And this part was a little bit confusing to me because it said Celaena was currently in hers, her mortal human body as animal as the birds wheeling above. So, like, her animal form is her being human?
Yeah, and how convenient. Like,
okay.
how perfect and convenient
that she can just walk among others.
Like, she's just yeah. What if this whole series could be nothing if like her second form was like a rat or something?
Right.
But no, she's human and she's a cute girl, and that just makes for a great story. It's just perfect.
Cute girl. It's true. It's true. We would have no story without that. And yeah, so back at the castle, Kaol is meeting Adian Ashriver. He
Yes.
is the king's infamous general of the north, and he's the cousin to Aelin Galathynius, aka Celaena. And Kaol's kind of like, why is this guy working for the king? Like, number one, why would the king want him to work for him? Because
Right.
wouldn't he think he has some like ulterior motives?
Mm-hmm.
And like, why would Adian want to work for him? Because he literally killed all of his family. Like,
Yeah.
it's just this
Like, what's
weird
he
dynamic
doing?
of like, what's going on here? But then we also find out that he has the same black ring that the
Mm-hmm.
king, Duke Parrington, and all of these men that are under their control are wearing.
Yeah.
So, like, it makes a little bit more sense. Like, the king is controlling him regardless, so he has, like, no reason to doubt that, like,
Yeah.
Adian wouldn't, like, carry out his
Of course he's
wishes.
here.
So,
Mm-hmm.
makes a little more sense, I guess.
Adian just kind of waltzes in. He's described as overwhelming. It's almost like Kale has a crush on him or something. He's beautiful. He's overwhelming. He's a warrior. This is the Wolf of the North we're
Beautiful.
talking about. And it's crazy. He's like infatuated. I don't know if it's because he kind of looks like Aelin because they're cousins. But it's really
Oh,
funny.
right.
He really goes into
Yeah,
detail about
that's
what he looks like. Like it's important.
yeah, I totally missed that. They're having like a bromance. That's
It's like, oh
funny.
my gosh,
Um,
okay.
but no one's gonna top Dorian for Kale, and we
No,
clearly see that in this book. Their
absolutely.
bromance is so strong in this
So
book.
many moments.
Yeah, and also on the flip side, Dorian is starting to kind of make the connection, but not really. He just points out that Adian has the same eyes as Celaena, and he's like
Yeah,
really struck by that because number one, he misses her, and number two, he hasn't seen her in how long, and
yeah,
it just stands out to him, but he doesn't know
yeah.
for sure yet.
We also put together that Dorian and Celaena must have met when they were children because Celaena and her family visited Adderlin. And we get into that interaction a little later, but it's hinted at here at this point.
Oh yeah. Good point. Good point. And then we meet another new character. There's just new
So
characters
many.
abound. So many, and you know how I love that.
Yeah, I
But
meant to
yes.
ask you how we feel about all the new characters.
Yeah, so I think this book lagged a little bit for me because of that. But also I feel like people are gonna start dying, so we need to introduce some new
We
ones.
need some fresh faces.
Like yeah, like Princess Nehemia's already gone, obviously, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely necessary for the story. I understand that. I think the biggest thing for me was like we had two books where everybody was in the same place. We knew like the castle and we knew the area and we
Mm-hmm.
knew all these people and their dynamics, and then it was like they were completely just taken out of that dynamic, put somewhere new, and you kind of have to like figure all that out. So
Yeah.
that I think that's why it was a little bit of a slow start for me, but
Yeah.
it definitely picks
And
up a lot.
when I first read these, I was so surprised when there were so many new characters in this book, but it's so exciting. Like Manon, for
Mhm.
example, I was like, oh, like we're going to someone completely different. Like Adian, we can understand because he's
Mhm.
kind of a part of someone's family, so we get it. But Manon is like a completely different thing. So she was so cool. I loved her introduction. She is such a cool
Yeah.
character. And it's just like her in this stolen cabin being hunted by men because when men are afraid of something, they try to kill it and destroy it. And she's like, you
Right.
picked the wrong enemy. And did they
Yeah.
ever? Because she completely destroys them. And she's just so cool. She wears the cloak of a Crocan witch that she killed when she was 16 years old, and it's like her prize. She's just really awesome. How'd you feel about Manon?
Yeah, I thought she was similar to Celaena, just like these women that are just very intimidating and
So tough.
just yeah, very tough. Yeah, I knew you would like her. I just knew this was like a character that you would really get on board with.
I just love a tough witch. Like, she's so cool.
Yeah,
I love
you
it.
love a witch. I knew you would vibe with the witch story of it all. I don't
It's so
vibe with
cool.
that as much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I knew you would love it. So I knew
I
you
love
would pick
it.
up my slack in like describing all of it,
Yeah.
which
Well,
is
I
great.
don't know. Admittedly, though, like, at whenever this book goes back and forth, which I also have mixed feelings about, but like, whenever we
Mm-hmm.
go from Rowan and Celaena training to Manon and her wyvern, I'm like, okay, like, I don't want to read
Yeah.
this right now, but I get that it's necessary. But there are just times where could we like wait a few chapters to put them in? There's kind of something going
Yeah.
on.
I do like the changing of the point of views, but there is a point where you're like, I hope it's not this person next. Like, I hope this chapter's not
Yeah,
coming next. And
totally.
she's that for me at this point. I'm
Yeah,
leaving space. I'm holding
we're holding
space for
space for
her.
Manon.
But at this point, it's not my favorite story to read about. Now, when they come and they're all like intertwined, I'm gonna be excited for that. But we're gonna get there. Hey guys, we wanted to take a second to tell you something pretty cool. So we are a brand ambassador for a bookish shop called Hello Milo. You can use the link in our Instagram bio or our show notes, or you can go to shophellomilo.com and use the code doublebooked_pod to get 15% off your entire order, and they also offer free shipping over $50.
It's a really good deal. It's a very cute store. We each have some things from them. I've got a really cute hat that says Book Club Babe on it. I wore it this past weekend. I got a few compliments. I think Kayla got some fun Kindle stickers.
So be sure to check that out and let us know what you get. In the meantime, Celaena and Rowan are continuing their journey to Maeve in this creepy forest. I hated that. Um, they like can't light a fire because they're like
Of
worried that
course.
some creature's gonna come out. Like, okay, no, I'm not reading this at night. Um, yeah, so they're just like going on their merry way. I don't know why they can't go any faster, but anyways, back at the castle, Dorian goes to see the healer because he has like a cut on his hand that he needs mended. Her name is Sorsha.
Sorsha.
Sorsha, yeah. He really likes her. He thinks she's beautiful, and he remembers that she healed all of them a month ago when all that crap was going down in the tomb, and she was the one that healed them all. So he's kind of nervous about that at first. He's like, "Oh, this girl gonna be a narc?" Like,
Yeah.
yeah, she knows everything. She's seen it all. But she seems pretty trustworthy. She says that even though they keep records of their patients, quote, sometimes we forget to write down everything.
So
So,
she's on our side. She's like, what do you mean?
yes,
What injuries?
right.
I don't know. And I have to say, I thought that Sorsha was creepy, like at first. It like quickly went away
Really?
for me, but I thought she was weird. Like just how she's loved him for so long and she's just a I don't know, I just got a weird vibe. I mean, you're weird. Like stop being so observant
Yeah,
and
no,
scary. I don't like you. That went away. I'm a fan of
yeah, I
Sorsha.
guess I didn't
But
see it as weird. I saw it as more like endearing, but yeah, I guess that could come across as like a little bit creepy. But I didn't see it that way because I feel like a lot of people feel that way about Dorian. Like he's the prince. Like everybody dreams about being with the
yeah, that's
prince.
true.
So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. So I didn't see it
Hmm.
as creepy at the time.
Back to Rowan and Celaena in their inability to make fire. They go to Aunt Maeve, and immediately she calls her Aelin. And Aelin's like, that's not me. That's not my name. And she's like, yes, it is. So then it's just kind of a thing that the people in Wendelin basically call her Aelin, because that's what they know, I
Mhm.
guess. It's all about finding truth. So Selena's super
Yeah.
triggered, and she's like, Aelin's dead. And we figure out that, like, Rowan is blood bonded to Maeve, like he kind of serves her and has no choice, basically. So Maeve, basically, this whole interaction is Maeve wanting Celaena to show her her magic. Maeve has always wanted to meet Celaena and see her power because it's really rare that someone can manipulate fire the way that she can, which I thought was really cool. So, and of course, Celaena can't do it. She's like, I don't know, I can't do it. What do you mean? You're just asking me to do this on command. I've never done it before. I don't know.
We also find out that Rowan, yeah, while he is blood bonded to Maeve, he's also like her nephew. And so she says that like him and Celaena are like extremely distantly related.
Very weird.
Yeah, very weird. So Maeve wants to see her power, and she says that in order to answer all of her questions about the word keys, she first has to meet her at Dornell. Which is I think just where the queen resides. Like they're kind of in
Yeah.
this in-between place called Mistward, I believe.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Um but Dornell is like where the queen lives.
Mm-hmm.
Uh so yeah, but she says she does not permit mortals or half-breeds like Celaena, and she has to prove herself worthy first. And so she's going to train with Rowan, and once he deems her worthy enough, she may come to Dornell to meet Maeve and have all of her questions
Yeah.
answered. So,
We get the major plot point of this book.
mhm,
Celaena
yep.
will train with Rowan. So I was
Yeah.
excited at this point. Like when we get the main plot of the book spelled out so nicely, and it's a good plot and I'm excited about it, I was pleased at this point and I was ready to get away from Maeve because she's creepy.
Yeah, she is really creepy. She honestly is. Yeah, so that's the plot of the book. She's gonna train, she's gonna hone her magic because she clearly does not know how to use it at
It's
all. Like
obvious
at this
she has
point,
no
she
skills.
she cannot use any bit of it. So then we go back to Manon. Um, her grandmother is telling her to assemble all of the Blackbeak clan in the Fairy Gap. And this is a place that we know from the last book where the king has been building an army. And so her grandmother tells her that the king needs riders for his. Do you say wyvern or wyvern?
I said wyvern at first, but I think I've seen everybody else say wyvern, and I feel like that's how you say it. It feels
I
weird though.
like wyvern. I like wyvern, and I'm gonna stick with it.
All right, stick to your
Anyways,
guns.
the king needs riders for his wyverns. That doesn't sound right. Okay.
Riders for the
He
wyvern.
and the riders for the wyverns. No. He needs
Okay.
riders for his wyverns, and they will serve as his aerial cavalry. So, kind of getting into it's getting more like Fourth Wing esque with like the dragons and the wyverns
Yeah.
and the riders and all of that. So, and in return, when the witches are done, he's going to give them the wyverns to use on their own, and they are hoping to reclaim the wastes, which is
Yes.
another place that we've never been to. So
It's on the map, but
it's on
we
the
haven't
map,
been there.
and we'll get there. We're
Yeah.
only not even halfway through, so
Oh yeah,
we'll get
yeah.
there someday.
So after that little exchange with Mama Blackbeak, basically, Grandmama Blackbeak,
Baba Yellowlegs and Mama Blackbeak.
Mama Blackbeak, we go back to the castle where Kaol notices that some guards are missing. And he's real mad, and he figures out that they went to a party of Adians. And he's like, I'm gonna knock some skulls. Where's this party? I'm gonna go. And he looks all around. He goes on this insane little scavenger hunt throughout this whole party, and everyone's like, Adian's not there. Adian went somewhere else. I think you should find him here. They can't find him. He's nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, he's just like, what is up with this dude? Like, he still can't figure out, like, why he's serving the king and how he got here and what he's up to because
Yeah.
he's so elusive.
So elusive.
back in Mistward, where Celaena is with Rowan, she meets some of the other half-breeds that are living there, and they drop a serious bomb that they have been training there for a very long time to go
Years.
to Doranel. Years. And they
Yeah.
still have years until they meet
They
Maeve's
are still not
qualifications.
ready. It's pretty
And
insane.
yeah, and Selena's uh, like, she's like, I don't have
What do you
years.
mean?
Yeah, and she's like, I can't be here for years. So she gets a little bit scared at that point that she's never
Yeah.
going to get the answers that she needs and all of that. And then we learned some other things about the Fae too. We learned that they don't have husbands or wives, but they have mates, which is like an unbreakable bond, deeper than marriage that lasts beyond death.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty standard as far as the Fae go.
Yeah,
But
that's a theme with the Fae. They like to mate.
yeah,
They like to have unbreakable
just the
bonds.
mates.
Just
Right.
mates.
They like to have just all these bonds. Yeah, and she learns from the others that Rowan is the toughest and the meanest of Maeve's
Yeah.
personal warriors.
Of course he
Eh,
is.
Of course he is. We already knew this. So we already knew he was rough and tough, but they've confirmed it. And while she's having this conversation with the other half breeds, she finds him listening in on their conversation in his animal form, which she now knows is a hawk. A
It's
white
so cool
hawk.
because a hawk was spotted really close to her for a long time at the beginning of the book when she's just flatbreading up on the roof.
Oh, I didn't make that connection. That's a good
Yeah.
connection. Interesting. So he's always been with her.
Always there all along.
Amazing, amazing. I liked finding this out because I love learning when either what the title of a book means or like what the cover means, and the cover just makes so I just love it. I feel like this is like the best cover of like the whole
It's really
series.
great.
It's so good. Like it's like you have the hawk up above and then the reflection is the wyvern, and I love it. I
Hmm.
feel like it's
It's
so
really great.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I like this cover in general. Like just with the
mhm.
trees and the mountain. It's just like exactly the perfect cover for this book.
Yeah, I really love it. So yeah, that was a cool thing to figure out. Yeah, and then back at the castle, once again, we keep flip-flopping around, but this is what SJM wanted. Dorian's magic, he releases his magic in some form in front of Sorsha, the healer. And she covers it up for him by like she's like, "Help me make this look like an accident." And they like throw all this glass around and just like make it look like she just knocked all this stuff over. But her boss is not so sure that it was an accident. She's still like very suspicious of their relationship because even after this event, whenever her boss was telling Dorian like we could assign you a new healer and all that stuff, he's like, "No, I still want Sorsha to be my healer." And she's
Yeah.
like, "Okay, there's definitely some funny business going on between you two. Like I know his reputation and all that." Um so yeah, they're not they're not being secret enough. Definitely
No.
not.
Definitely not. In the same kind of area of the book, we learn that the ring that Adian is wearing is, in fact, a replica. It's not the real ring. He's like, yeah, that ring was ugly and it smelled weird. I just threw it in the river. So he wears a fake ring to kind of trick everyone into thinking he's cool, he's on the
Yes.
right side. And we also find out that Adian is meeting with rebels and that he is like
Mhm.
good. He's sound of mind, and so they're all chill. Like Kale's like, okay, Aylin's alive. Let me tell you what's going on. And so Adian and Aelin, we figure out, are both like really nervous about what the other is going to think of them for like what they've been doing for the past 10 years. And we learn that they were like really good friends when they were younger, even though they're cousins, they were just like really close. And so it's kind of like
Mm.
this, what are they going to think? What's going on? Kind of thing.
Yeah, I thought this part was so interesting, like, when, the ring was a replica, and so, like, he's really not under the king's control, and
Yeah.
he's got this whole subplot going on too. Yeah, and he clearly has a lot of love for Aelin. Like, he says that cousin had been his most beloved title, and he
Aw.
feels like he's her protector and all of these things. And so to hear that she was alive was like really just
Yeah.
sparked something within him. So,
Just like
yeah.
imagine how that must feel. Like you have, I don't know, like say you and me when we're really little. Okay, so here it's
Uh-huh.
kind of like the story of how we met, our very first story back at Bible school in the summer. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, never gonna see that friend again, but she was great. But then, like 10 years later, it's like, oh my gosh, she's alive. It's
She's
completely not the
alive.
same, but it's so exciting and so happy. I
She's
get
still
it, Aiden.
alive.
I get it.
Yeah. I'm excited for them to finally meet at some point, but
I know.
yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Um, yeah, and then back across back across the
Back again.
whatever. Rowan and Celaena are continuing to train. She still refuses to shift. Um, and yeah, she just like she doesn't want to unleash that part of her, but also she doesn't really know how to, in a
Yeah.
sense, as well. Like she just doesn't know.
Yeah.
Um,
She's like really scared.
yeah, she is. She's scared of like because when they were in the tomb in the last book and she finally turned Fae, she was like scared of how she was going to hurt people or
Hmm.
just endanger those around her, and she didn't really know like the full extent of her power.
Yeah.
So,
It's a very like emotional thing for her. And I feel like Rowan knows that. And that's kind of why he's being such a jerk and like being so hard on her and so rough because I don't know. She's not the kind of person who needs to be coddled. She really needs to be pushed. And I think that's what he's doing. He is still being a little harsh, I think, with how he's
oh
making her
yeah.
do stuff. But I think that he knew what she needed. And I think that this ended up working for her. She does end up shifting while they're arguing. He like bites her, right? He bites her and that does it, and she shifts.
I did not like that.
Wait a
Yeah.
second. I guess
Yeah.
that's what
Okay, now
happens,
we're in
but
Twilight.
now it's Twilight.
Now
Great.
we're
I
in
didn't want this crossover. We don't need this crossover.
No, we did not need that crossover. We definitely didn't. But yeah,
No.
so him biting her neck, like the pain of it or the anger causes her to shift and she causes like a huge wildfire to start. But Rowan is able to suffocate the fire.
Cause ding dong, he's a ice wielder.
Yep,
So
exactly.
exciting.
So exciting. And so she realizes that like Maeve didn't give her an instructor with similar abilities to her to learn. She gave her someone capable of smothering her
Shutting it
fire
down.
and just
Yeah.
making sure that she doesn't become this like big threat essentially.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, Rowan
Mm.
continues to be harsh because he says that they get into this topic about like people they love or whatever, and he says like the people you love are just weapons that will be used against you. And so like
Ooh.
he's just so cold.
He's so cold.
He's
Ice.
literally an ice wielder. He's so cold.
So icy. Okay,
Yeah.
Rowan. We see you. We
I
get
guess this
it.
kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense. Like she is a fire wielder and she's
Yeah.
just extremely fiery. Like she's just like spunky and it's kind of
Uh-huh.
making sense.
Yeah, it
Not gonna
totally makes
lie.
sense. Not gonna lie, this tracks.
I am just realizing this. I'm like, actually, what SJM spent years developing.
You know what? He is a little icy, and she happens to be a firecracker. I get it.
What?
Makes
She
perfect
actually got
sense.
this out a little bit. it's crazy how she did that.
Oh, but it is good and it makes sense. It's good writing. We got it. And yeah, she wrote them out perfectly. Their
I
magic's
can't.
manifested.
Alright. You can take it out. You can take it from here.
Let's get back to some witches. So the witches have met their wyverns and they're gonna choose. So there's this whole big thing. I'm not gonna go into detail. It's just a fight with this giant bull wyvern who's just like eating people and destroying everything. But Manon wanted that guy at first, but then chooses the quote bait beast because she feels a connection with him. And I think that there's a really sweet passage, like once she figures out, like, oh, that's my guy, that's my friend. She says, he's mine. Taking in the scars, the limp, the burning life in those eyes, the witch and the wyvern looked at each other for a moment that lasted for a heartbeat, that lasted for eternity. You're mine, Manon said to him. The wyvern blinked at her. Blah, blah, blah. Titus hadn't been so much about survival as it had been a challenge to claim her as his rider, as his mistress, as his. I just really thought that was sweet. Like,
mistress?
that was weird. Like, what are you talking
I
about?
don't like the mistress term. I'm not liking that. No.
Just because that word and that is not important for the rest of the series, I'm just gonna say that means nothing, and that was a weird word choice.
No,
Nothing happens.
I know that. I know that, but like I just don't like that word. Like
His mistress.
yeah.
Okay.
That's so weird.
Do my cats
Anyways.
think that I'm their mistress?
No.
Because those are
No.
in fact my children. I don't
Right.
understand.
No, that's not a mistress. That's definitely not right.
Yeah. So she
But
gets
yeah.
him and claims him, and his name is Abraxas. Just
Mhm.
another cool name. Abraxas is, I think, it.
Yes. Yes, and this is completely different from who she thought she was going to have, which was Titus, and he was like the
Titus.
biggest and baddest, but she ends up with this bait beast because he was ultimately her protector. She feels this bond between them, and she says the bait beast had trounced him not because he was bigger or stronger, but because he wanted it more. Titus had been a brute and a killer, yet this wyvern before her, he was a warrior.
I love it.
And
it's so great.
I love that.
Like
and that's
calls
like
to
her.
like.
Like she's a woman. She's probably not like the strongest person, but she's a warrior, and she's got the heart for it. And
Yes.
that's why she's the best.
Like Wicked,
Yeah.
they deserve each other. Manon and Abraxas.
It doesn't roll off the tongue
Just like
as
Wicked.
well.
No, it's
If
not
you
the
could
same.
just make the names a little bit shorter, it might work. But there's
Yeah.
they just can't do that. They just can't. Yeah, and then back to Celaena and Rowan. I'm not even sure what makes her do this, but she like throws a little tantrum. She's like, "I'm leaving." She's like, "I'm never gonna make Maeve's favor, and I'm just gonna go." And he's like, "Okay, see ya. Like, you're not gonna last a day." So she goes back into the woods, and she's actually so stupid because she's like, "Well, I have fire. Like, I know I have fire in the woods." And like, you idiot, you were not ever supposed to light a fire in the woods. And she's like, "Crap." But it's too late. And the creepy things that we were scared of, they're skinwalkers. Disgusting.
I hate it. I hate
and they
these
find
things.
her. They find her. They're attracted to the fire, actually. And they find her. But Rowan does too. He comes to her rescue. He's like, "You need to shift right now, or else you're not going to be fast enough to outrun them." And she does, and eventually they're able to like trap the skinwalkers and burn them. And yeah, they kind of have like a deep conversation. She starts to bring up her past, and they're just getting a lot closer. And so she gives up her fight, and she's like, "Okay, I'll come back with you." And they go back to the fortress.
Okay,
It's
fine.
like, that was completely necessary. Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing about Celaena, she likes a temper tantrum. She will
Oh my
storm off.
gosh. Yeah.
She will
She
flip the
does.
game board, and she will leave the premises.
Yeah, she
She's an
is such
angry
a
woman.
she's an angry elf. Yeah, she really is. It's not a good look. It's really not. Like it's just not and this happens
Nah.
again later on too. And
Yeah.
oh my gosh, by that point I was like, you need to stop. Like you
The
just need to stop.
dramatics. Yeah.
The dramatics. It's unbelievable. Um,
So where are we?
yeah.
They find the fourth body. By the way, they're
Right.
finding they're finding dead bodies that are completely murdered and destroyed, and they all have like the same thing in common. They're just completely like drained. Like of course they're dead, they're drained, but like the life has been sucked out of them. They're totally dead. All in the same way, and they all have like the black kind of liquid, right, around them.
Mhm.
And so this is the
Yeah.
fourth one that they find, and like that's the whole section, I guess. Meanwhile, back to Dorian and Sorsha, they've got a little thing going. They're like kind of together,
Mhm.
and it's pretty sweet. And I take it back, she's not creepy, but like at first she was. But anyway, they have a really sweet little relationship forming at first. It's nice.
Yeah. I really liked this. Just give me any bit of romance and I'm gonna latch onto it.
I was worried that you wouldn't like this. Yeah, I thought like I don't know. I feel like you really were shipping Dorian and Celaena, and I was like, she's not gonna like Sorsha, but I'm glad that you like this.
No, I feel like at the end of the last book, I was very team Kale. Like, I
Yeah,
just wanted them.
right.
I thought he deserved better. Like, once again, with her tantrums and
Mm-hmm.
like Nehemia dying. Like, yes, did he play a part in it? Like,
Yeah,
kind
but
of. I guess maybe if he would have warned you, you could have been there sooner. But like, it wasn't his fault. Like,
yeah,
it really wasn't. And I just don't think he deserved all that. But, anyways, I'm
yeah.
happy for Dorian. He has so much love to give. He really
He
does.
does.
And yeah, it's sweet. And so Sorsha is helping him. She's making him a tonic to take daily to block out the magic so he can kind of like suppress it. And she asks a very important question to him because I'm a science nerd. And she's like, but there's iron in your blood. So, like, how does that work? Because iron is supposed to suppress magic,
Suppress
per
magic.
se. Yeah, and he comes back and says, I think it was the god's way of keeping us from growing too powerful. If we keep contact with the magic, if it's flowing through us for too long, we faint, or worse. So I thought that was really interesting. Like,
Yeah,
it's it's different from what I've seen before, like, not to compare everything to Fourth Wing, but just like if they take too much magic in Fourth Wing or like channel from the earth, like they become this venom or like
yeah, right.
evil version of themselves. Where in this case, it's like, no, like you're gonna die. Like
Yeah.
if you take too much, you're gonna die. Which
I
is just
like this
interesting.
version better. I like this
Yes.
reality a little more. And the iron thing is interesting because in her other series, A Court of Thorns and Roses, iron kind of doesn't do anything. Like it is brought up and humans are like, "Oh, I have my iron. Get away." And it like doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, no, but I just really liked that they kind of ironed this out because
I
that was because this was a plot hole for me. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
how does
No,
this
it's
work?
great.
Like,
She knew that
yeah,
someone like you was going to ask that question.
she knew that the nerds were gonna be reading. Yeah, she just knew we were
Mhm.
here.
So I have a follow-up medical question. So if you're like severely
Okay.
iron deficient, are you a really strong with your magic?
Apparently your magic can
Ooh,
just take hold. Yep,
that's
you
pretty
can channel more
exciting.
than anybody else for sure.
Look at
I just
that.
heard your cat.
Go away. Oh my
I
god.
love it. It's so welcome. It's so
She's
welcoming
like,
nice.
"Hey, I've got some iron in my blood."
A cat's meow is so much better than like a dog barking. Like it's
I
just so much
guess.
sweeter.
It's
It
I don't
really
think we
is.
ever once you hear her at 4:45 in the morning directly in your ear screaming for food, it's not so cute. But she's a sweet woman. Okay, where are we? Where are we?
So we just left off with Sorsha and Dorian and the magic.
Yeah.
And now Celaena and Rowan, they're still searching for like the threat to these bodies that keep ending up.
Mm-hmm.
just drained. Celaena has a dream about her childhood, so we finally get a glimpse of
Yes.
like her past, and we learn that her mother's nickname for her was Fireheart, which was just
Fireheart.
cute. And she made a big mess in the library one day, which we're guessing is that she burned the books. Um, her father really wants her to go and be trained by her Aunt Maeve, but her mother doesn't want her to. And um her father makes the point that she doesn't really have any friends, only Adian. Like that's like her only friend, and that's just really sad.
Sad.
Um because everybody's so scared of her. Like
Yeah.
it's just really sad. And yeah, we just get a glimpse of like Adian and Selena's friendship. She says he'd burn the library, the city, or the whole world to ashes if she asked him to. It was their bond, marked by blood and scent and something else she couldn't place.
Very sweet. They just love each other.
Yeah, like what's the other something though? Like, are they mates? Like, I don't like they're cousins. I
They're
don't
cousins.
know. Yeah, that's why I was like confused.
Think so. They're cousins.
Okay, that's what I
Something
was
else.
confused about.
I just feel like maybe she doesn't have a lot of familial connections anymore because perhaps her parents are dead, and I just think that like it's a really strong cousin love. That's all I think this
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah, that's what I was hoping.
But you're
I
right,
was
that is
hoping.
phrased a little weird.
It
So
was
who
like I was like,
knows?
oh, there's something more here, but apparently there's not.
Yeah. I
So
don't
yeah,
know.
but then okay, then Adian admits that he never knew who his father was.
Yeah, Adian does not know who his dad is, which is like that's a part of his character. He doesn't know. He knows who his mom is, but he doesn't know his dad. And so yeah, he's got some daddy issues.
Do we ever figure that out or no?
We do. We find out who his dad is.
Okay, okay. I was just wondering if it
It
was
you
like
wait a little
I
bit. It's
felt
not going to happen, but like you figure it out
yeah, I
eventually.
felt like it was there for a reason. So,
Yeah,
just
you do
interesting.
find out, and it is important. But
Yeah.
yeah, so Kale is kind of. I think he's a little freaked out when he figures out that Adian was like, "I would destroy this entire world if it meant saving my cousin." I think
Yeah.
that he's scared of them and he's intimidated because once they meet, he knows that their bond is going to be really strong and that they together are going to be kind of unstoppable. And it's kind of like they would be his enemy together, and he knows how
Mm.
strong they'd be and that he might not win that kind of battle.
Because he's always gonna be her enemy. You're my enemy
Never his
always.
friend.
No.
It's terrible.
The rebels are figuring some things out as well. So they see these men in different uniforms than they're used to. It's like a black uniform, it has an emblem of a wyvern, which is supposed to be the royal symbol. But like Kale's like, I've never seen these uniforms before, and he's the
Yeah,
captain of the guard, so he should know what's up.
right.
Um, and then Adian and Ren tell the captain their theory about magic, which this is where things get interesting. So Ren says that the day magic vanished, the waves formed a rough triangle across the continent. The first line of the triangle went from Rifthold to the frozen waste. The second went from the frozen waste to the edge of the deserted peninsula, and the third line went from there back to Rifthold. And they think there was like a spell sent from these specific points, like a beacon. And I'm like, you mean like a tower?
Connections were
You mean
made.
like a tower? No, this part I was like, oh no. Like,
Oh,
this is the part where I was
yeah.
looking at my book and I'm like, it's making sense. And
Yeah.
like, obviously, I already know that there's a book after this called Tower of Dawn, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
well,
okay, like, yeah, there it is. There, it's coming. But yeah, very big thing coming. And we know that when Celaena was in the clock tower, that she did not feel well. There was some weird stuff
the
going on there.
headaches.
So, right. And so all of this is going to start making a lot more sense.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the suspense. I love the build-up, and
It's great.
yes, love it all.
So there's this whole thing with Minon and Abraxas. Like, basically, he hurts his wing, and that's it. And then we go back to Mistward and Emrys, who is the mate of a co-worker, basically, for Celaena, because she's working in the kitchens. Emrys is like the holder of stories, or I forget what his exact title is.
Yeah.
But then we just go through this part where we learn a little bit about Maeve. Basically, long story short, is that there are 3 sisters, Mab, Maeve, and Mora. I love these names, by the way. And
Yeah, they're cute.
they ruled all fairies when fairies just walked among the demi-fae and everything. Mora and Mab both fell in love with mortals and gave up their immortality, although it's possible that Maeve forced them to do that. And then Maeve
Crazy.
also once loved a warrior, but he died before like they could get married and have that bond. So then, yeah, we just get that little tidbit about them. We also meet Gavriel, a friend of Rowan's. And then the next point I have is that Rowan tells Celaena that she's whiny and he doesn't like her.
I hate this part so much.
So dramatic. She goes off on Rowan because what? He just leaves
like,
for like a
goes and
little
gives-
bit. Like
Yeah, like I was literally so confused because I had highlighted this part, and when I went back to like make my notes, I was like, "What is she so upset about?" She says, "You left me."
who left
Maybe
me.
it was only out of blind terror at the abyss opening up again around her, but she whispered, "I have no one left. No one." Like, he literally just walked upstairs.
That me when my boyfriend leaves me without announcing where he's going. So needy. You left me. I have nobody.
I
How
don't
dare you?
understand this. I feel like she was just trying to like make drama between them to get more dialogue, but like this was a nothing burger. Like I did not like this.
Well, doesn't she goes looking for him and she finds him tattooing this guy?
Yeah, but like she didn't need to get so upset.
No. We should I don't I'm looking at it right now and I'm like trying to figure out why she had this reaction and like
I
it's
can't
not
figure it out.
I don't think it's justified.
No.
Like okay, let me just read part of her tantrum. She says, "Instead of reminding me again and again about how rutting, worthless, and awful and cowardly I am, believe me, I can do the job well enough on my own. So just hit me because I'm damn tired of trading insults. And you know what? You didn't even bother to tell me you'd be unavailable. If you said something, I never would have come. I'm sorry I did, but you just left me downstairs." You left me, she repeated.
Downstairs.
Downstairs. You're in the same
Downstairs.
house.
Like, what if he just needed to go to the bathroom? But he's just
You left me. I have nobody.
You left me for 5 minutes. Like, girl, you need to go to therapy. This is unbelievable. Like, it's actually unbelievable. But then he goes off on her and he's like, he says, "There is nothing that I can give you. Nothing I want to give you. The sooner you can sort out your whining and self-pity, the sooner I can be rid of you. You are nothing to me, and I do not care." Like, oh my god.
Crazy. Well, okay. In his defense, she walked in on him doing something like very, I guess, intimate is the word for it.
Yeah.
Like he's tattooing a guy, and like we figure out about Rowan that he just does this. I guess it's like like exposure torture therapy. I don't know. He tattoos people with like memories of grief and loss and stuff. And I guess he was emotional and he was embarrassed maybe that he was caught doing that, but she did not have to come out swinging as hard as she did.
No, like he kind of deserved to go off on her a little bit, but
He did.
that was just too much for me.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad we got that cleared up because wow.
Yeah. And then I think we can skip over a few of these things.
Some of this stuff is just yeah.
Yeah, so Manon goes to find spider silk from these legendary spiders. It says
Yeah.
that they are large as horses. Okay, that one caught my attention. A spider the size of a horse?
And
I'm
deadlier than
sorry.
poison. And she seeks them out on purpose. No thanks.
No.
Absolutely not. Immediately no. Immediately no. I've seen what I needed to see.
This is when I was like, this girl has guts. Like, she's got
Manon
guts.
is not messing around.
No. Like, the size of horses. No, I don't think
I'd be
so.
like, sorry, Abraxas, you're not gonna fly anymore.
No,
I
yeah,
cannot
like,
help
I'm
you.
gonna pick
Cannot
a
help you.
new wyvern. Here we come. But yeah, apparently she ends up tricking them. They fall off this cliff and she gets the spider silk and they go. But I feel like this is not the last we're going to see of these horse-sized spiders because they're going to be absolutely so angry at her and they're going to
Oh
come
my
back
god.
for more.
Yeah,
Um,
that was pretty rough.
she really messed with the wrong people, I feel. So I don't like that.
And then we kind of get back with Celaena and Rowan. They've sort of made up. They're having more deep conversations. And she just really doesn't want to be queen, and she's kind of explaining that to Rowan. And then we kind of realize at the same time, that's a lot of responsibility, and she doesn't want to have to face. I don't think the responsibility is the problem. I think her issue is that she doesn't want to face what happened 10 years ago and like her truth. She's just not ready for it. She really also just wants freedom because she hasn't been for a while. She, I believe, describes the crown as just another set of shackles or something.
Yeah.
Which, okay. But it's true. She's just not ready for it.
Yeah, and then on the other side of things, Dorian and Kale kind of get into it
Oh,
because
yes, I love this part.
Dorian's like, you gotta pick a side. You can't pick and choose what parts of her to love. So it's either you love
Ooh.
Celaena for who she is and her magic, or you don't love her at all. And this is kind of just a parallel to, if you don't love Celaena and her magic, how could you love me and my magic? Like it
Yeah.
goes hand in hand with their bromance.
Uh-huh.
But he wants to know what his choice is. And he says you have to decide whether you are her enemy or her friend.
Ooh. He knew what he was doing with that word choice.
Yes. Right.
I guess they talk a little bit about the collars, the black collars, and how they're in
Mm-hmm.
control. They're just people who look like they're in control by something else, kind of like puppets. And I don't know, I guess we don't have to get too deeply into that because it's harped on a lot in this book. But yeah, after that, Celaena and Rowan are training, and she almost completely burns out with her power. She does too much. And I think she's just like keeping a bonfire alive or something, and she can't do it, and she burns out. But they just really describe how important it is to recognize the signs of burnout and like pull back on the reins a little bit because you could die. Um, so then we get into a very important detail where Rowan describes the Karanim, which
Mm-hmm.
is basically like a different kind of mate. I guess it's not. It's more like a soulmate kind of situation. If
Mm-hmm.
if you have no power left, your Karanim, which is just another person with blood relation, no matter how distant, who can give you their power. And you don't know it until you try it, and some people never meet theirs, because I guess it's really rare that you meet your Karanim. So we learn about that, and remember that, because that's very important.
Yes. And I feel like you and I would be Karanim.
Kayla, I made a note to tell Kayla she is my Karanim. I would give you my last drop of power.
That's amazing.
Very
I love
sweet.
it.
Yeah.
So sweet. But yeah, she's like almost ready. She's kind of mastering her power and she's really in control of it. But then they find another body. Then they're still looking for whoever's responsible for this. So she recognizes this black substance that's on the body, and it's not dirt, and she recognizes the smell of it from when she was in the catacombs, and the beast that she met down there. So she's like, what if they moved these beasts out of the castle once they were like perfected and ready?
Yeah.
And she thinks that the beasts are draining the demi-fae, which are also referred to as the half-breeds in this book, because they can use magic, but nobody cares if they live or die. Like, they're not, nobody really cares about the half-breeds, and so they're just draining them dry of their magic. And then they find this whole army coming in on ships, commanded by this General Narek. And these soldiers are like very highly trained. They have 3 of these creatures with them, and um they believe that they're trying to like capture all the demi-fae so that they won't side with Wendelin in like this impending war that's going to be waged with Adarlan. So,
And the 3 creatures, we find out that they are Valg princes
mhm.
in their little host bodies.
Yeah, and remind me again, what's the Valg?
The
What's
Valg is oh,
it's like
they're
an
just
ancient
yeah, they're
group.
just like, how do you actually describe the Valg? Okay. The Valg are a race of powerful and malicious demons. True Valg are parasites. They possess humans and feed off them like until they're dead.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very powerful. Very
Yeah.
evil.
Serious stuff.
Serious. Yeah, and so they end up tricking like the skinwalkers to battle with these creatures, and they end up kind of like destroying each other,
Yeah.
which seems to work in their favor. But that doesn't really work. The creatures come back. So the creatures on their way, and there are like wards around this fortress that they're at. But she knows that the best way to kill them is by using her flame, because they're very repelled by her power and her
Yeah.
flame. But in order to do that, she's gonna have to like step out of the wards, because otherwise it's just gonna like rebound and not work. So in a way she has to kind of like risk herself. So she does. She steps out of the ward. She starts battling them. Once again, like putting herself at risk. And she just isn't strong enough to take them, so she's just growing weaker and weaker. And Rowan, in the meantime, is trying to save everybody else because they had like these people infiltrate the tunnels of the fortress, and so yeah, she's all on her own, and they eventually take her, and they enter her mind. They start going through her memories, and this is when it gets good.
Yeah. This is juicy.
Yeah. So her first memory is when she first met the king of Adarlan and Prince Dorian, and they were very young at the time. And I just love this part because she tells Dorian that he eats like a fine lady, and I cannot. It's
And
so
he comes
funny.
back and says, I eat like a prince.
I love it. I love their
I
relationship.
love that part.
And I love that she like asked him to be her friend. She's like, "Do you want to be my friend?" And he's like, "I already
Oh,
have a friend back at the castle." It was chaos. Like that
that's
made my heart
terrible.
soar. It was amazing though.
That's a very
It was
cute
so
moment.
amazing. But yeah, she ends up losing her cool, and she channels her power in front of the king. And so he's like,
That's not a good move, girl. Not the move to make.
yeah, and he gives her like this weird smile, and it's just not looking good.
Yeah. The second memory that she has is the night that her parents were killed. So it includes her mom giving her the amulet of Orinth for protection, and she tells her to never take it off and never to lose it. She does lose it whenever her parents are killed. And her maid, Lady Marian, finds her and tells her to run to the river so she can distract whoever was coming for Aelin next to kill her. So Aelin runs for the bridge, but it was cut because the assassins are good at their job, and she falls into the river. So she's in the river, and that's where I guess a Robin, whatever, finds him. So Lady Marian sacrificed herself for Celaena, And Celaena hates that. And she used her second chance to become this monster, this assassin. So she's very ashamed to come home and face that. So everyone comes up to her in her dream and is like, you have to get up. And this is Celena's really like big realization. Let's come to terms with things moment. And she realizes that she needs to conquer her fears. And there's this quote. It says, "It would not take a monster to destroy a monster, but light to drive out darkness. She was not afraid." And that's just harks back to the quote that she always says, my name is Celaena Sart the Thing, and I will not be afraid. Oh, this was just such a good moment. I loved it.
It was. And it's like I can just like see this in my mind because at the same time Rowan's like the darkness stops sweeping across the
Oh,
land. It helps,
yeah.
and Rowan kind of makes the same connections that if the creatures are feeding on despair and terror, then what if the victim like actually conquers those fears and embraces them?
Yeah.
And then a flame erupts from the wall of darkness and he knows that Celaena is she's back.
She's back. It's such a good moment.
Yeah, and she defeats the Valg. So she's just she's doing her thing.
She's taking
Um
names.
yeah. And then Rowan ends up he gives her his like palm that he cut open and he wants her to take some of his power cuz she's so like drained at this point. And they find out that they are Karin Karanum. I don't know how to say it. Anyway, they have
Oh.
this super rare bond where they can share power, and they Rowan says that he claims her. She previously said like I claim you to Rowan, and he says in this moment I claim you to Aelin, and she says to whatever end. And this is it's like the always in Harry Potter, like it's just and I love it. I love
I
this
love it.
version.
It made my heart so happy. To
Yeah.
whatever end. It's so good. And it
Yeah,
worked. And you didn't even
and
know that. Oh, it's just so
yeah.
good.
And like this really hit me because I was like, she finally has a friend. Like she just being in her memories, like that's all she wanted was just a friend and like somebody other than Adian. And I just feel like this really put into perspective like why she was so upset when Nehemia died. Like she just wants a friend and like somebody who won't betray her. Like she's
Yeah.
obviously friends with Dorian, but he is the son of the king who has destroyed everything she loves. And Kael has now betrayed her. Nahimi is dead. Like she just
Yeah.
needs a friend.
This is an important bond for her. Because, yeah, like you said, like none of her previous friends were actually like on her side fully.
Right.
And like, and like they have lots in common. Like there's all the struggle. And it's just like they get each other. And they're just, it's great. They're connected. It's the best.
Yeah. I love it. I love it so much. Um Back at the castle, Kael is making Dorian like practice his magic, and he makes him draw all these lines between three crystals shaped in a triangle, just like the towers that they suspect.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants him to like freeze everything in the middle to see if their theory was right, and it does work. So the possibility that there was like a spell sent out from these beacons to eradicate magic is pretty solid. And now they think maybe if we knock out one of these towers, like maybe we can reverse this, you know, like take one of the
Yeah.
points out of the equation and see if that brings magic back.
So then Celaena does some thinking and thinks that this amulet of Orin's that her mom gave her was the third word key. And
Okay, stop right there. Just for a second.
okay.
What is the second? Because she says it's the third. We only know that like the king has one, but did she figure out what the second
It's
was?
like a possibility that the king has two. So I think she's just assuming that he has two and
Okay.
that he has the third. I actually don't think we know at this point
Okay,
if
I was
there
just
is an
wondering if I
identified
was
one.
missing something. I
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything.
Yeah. So, since Aelin, as a little kid, fell into the river and a Robin Hamel found her, it is assumed that he has the word key. And so that's kind of a mini setup for a plot point to come. And
Yes, I love that.
yeah, so now it's time to go and face Maeve, which is a big part of the story, and I'm a little nervous. Because it's like, okay, does she have what it takes?
Right, exactly.
She asks her how the word keys can be destroyed. That's her first question. She asks where they are, and like, what else do you know? Please tell me things about them, because she knows these are important. We learn that they can't be destroyed, they can only be put back into the word gate. And no one knows, like, how to do that. So, then we discover that Brannon wasn't royal born. He was born with the bastard's mark. And each of his heirs have this. And is this not the mark on Celaena's forehead?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
So, okay. The bastard's mark. Can you imagine? How embarrassing.
No, I can't. But she still doesn't know why, like, she's felt it burn, like, during her duel with Cain, when she's in the presence of the king, and when she was in the presence of the Valg. So she still doesn't know why that's the case, and she asks Maeve about it, and she's like, I don't know.
That's interesting. It kind of reminds me of Harry Potter's scar burning when Voldemort's close.
Oh my
Isn't that
gosh, that's such a
interesting?
good point. That's such a good point.
Like,
Wow.
or maybe I just thought maybe it was like her power surging in that moment, and like her sort of semi-shifting, but I don't know if
Yeah,
that's possible.
could be. Yeah, no, I like that reference, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Maeve also goes on to say that the Valg princes are hard to kill, but they're not invincible. But if Celaena goes back to Adarlan where there's no magic, she suggests like cutting their heads off at the collar, which luckily she's great at doing that. So it shouldn't be
She
too
loves to
hard.
cut off a
She
head.
loves to cut off heads. So she also says that the king, if he had all three word kings, he would have unlimited power. He would not need magically gifted hosts for the Valg. He just would need empty bodies.
That is horrifying information.
It's terrifying. She says he would not need the wordstone callers to control them. He would just have absolute control of this army of the dead.
Oh
Which
gosh.
is horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
That's pretty scary.
Yeah, and then the ultimate question remains. And she kind of poses this question to herself. Why did Brannon choose to hide these word keys rather than just putting them back where he found them? Like, what was
Yep.
the point of this? I don't know. We don't know.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
So Maeve is like begging Aelin to tell her where the third word key is, and Aelin's refusing. So she takes Rowan and whips him and beats him until she confesses. So then this really makes Celaena really mad, so she releases her power and sets the world on fire. That's like akin to what it says in the book. It's very dramatic.
Yeah.
So
very dramatic.
So then she decides to propose something to Maeve. She has the ring that was from Maeve's like future betrothed, who died, so not future. She's got the ring that was meant for her, and she offers it to Maeve, and in exchange she asks for Rowan's freedom from the blood oath. And Maeve, like, in a shocking turn of events, like says okay and releases him. I was really surprised when that happened. So she lets him go.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, okay. I think she does it because she's like, whatever, I'm stronger than you anyway. I don't need him. I have 5 other big, enormous fae men. So then, in another surprising turn of events, Rowan enters immediately into a blood oath with Aelin. He just can't get enough of these blood oaths.
This man is not afraid of commitment, that's for sure. Like, he's the guy that everybody's looking for, I'm telling you.
One thing about Rowan, he'll commit to you for his entire life. Via blood oath.
He will shed his blood for you. Just every girl's dream. But yeah, So that's the saga with Maeve. That's really where Celaena and Rowan's story kind of like ends for the moment, and then we get a wrap up on everybody else's plots. So we're back with the witches. It's time for their war games, which they've been training for. So each of the three clans, the game is that they all have their own nest atop a nearby peak, and in the center of each there's a glass egg, and each clan has to capture the other eggs, and but they also leave behind like another witch to protect their own egg, and they have to capture all three eggs and whatever. It's capture the flag. It's
Yeah, that's
capture
all
the
this
flag.
is. They play
All
capture
right,
the
it's
flag.
capture the flag. But this kind of led me to believe that while Celaena thinks that the king has two of the word keys, this whole setup makes me think that he only has one, because this he's literally training them to do exactly what he wants them to do with the
Yeah.
word keys, which is protect the one he already has and go
Mm-hmm.
out and get the other two. So, yeah, just a cool little like parallel
Yeah.
there. But yeah,
That
that's
is
it.
a
We're
good
done with the
parallel.
witches.
We're done with the witches
They're
for
done.
now.
We're done with them. Yeah. And then back at the castle, so the guards are back with these like weird uniforms that Kale was like, I've never seen those before.
Right.
Kale and Adian are summoned to the king, and Sorsha and Dorian are. So they're all just like waiting for something to happen. The king has Sorsha like ready to be executed unless they answer his questions. And Adian ends up covering for Kaol and says that like Kaol knew that Adian was a rebel, and so he's been trailing him and blackmailing him for information to give back to the king. And the king's like, all right, like he really didn't know this before. He was just like waiting for them to fess up. Um, so he keeps Adian, and he says he's not going to kill him. He's going to keep him for blackmail in case Celaena returns. Well, not Celaena, Aelin returns, like to come rescue him. Um, and then Kale's like, all right, let Sorsha go now, please. And the king's like, why should I release the true traitor in this castle? And my jaw was on the floor. um,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that was crazy.
We had heard her talk to Dorian before about like her family history, why she works at the castle, even though like the king, you know, destroyed her family and the place that she lived and all of these things. But I never for a second saw this coming. And so yeah,
Yeah.
she's hated the king for all of that. But she confesses that, you know, she really did love Dorian, and that she wasn't supposed to
Aw.
fall in love with him, but she did, and it's just very sweet.
It's very sad because the next thing that happens is that the king beheads her for her treason, and it's so sad. It is so horrible. Dorian is completely destroyed. He's so upset. I guess he screams, and that's pretty much it. It's just horrible. It's gut wrenching, and I can't talk about it. So Sorsha is killed for what she did. And then Kaol then rebels, which is shocking. I did not expect this of him. And he says he won't serve the king. And an awesome quote is, there is one true king in this room. There always has been. And he is not sitting on that throne. Talking about Dorian. Ah, I
His
love this
true
part.
king.
He
It was
is
such a good
everyone's
part.
true king. It's such a good part. So
It's
then,
awesome.
because he's, is no longer serving the king, he's now an enemy, and so they try to shoot him with an arrow. Dorian stops everything. He freezes the room with his magic, which is in front of his father, the king, who does not want magic, and that's a big crime. And so, like, Dorian and Kaol tell each other, like, I love you, bro. And
Oh,
Kaol gets out of there.
bro.
Kaol runs. There is, before we get to the next really big part, there's a quote that I really like. It's just it's chapter 67. I love this. I love that SJM did this without saying who exactly it was about. It's very short. I won't read the whole thing, but it's basically that Kaol basically throws away his captain of the guard pommel, his sword. It's just really great. I love it.
You unlocked that chapter for me because I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, that's what
I
this
had
is.
no clue. I had no
Isn't it great?
clue. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
the
is great.
eagle,
And I wish I would have known who it was about.
You just read that like, la-dee-da. What's next?
Like, I was thinking it was gonna
Oh,
come up
yeah.
in the next book. I don't know.
Oh, no.
I thought it was some.
That's
I
Kale.
don't know. Yeah, no, okay,
Right?
that makes sense. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
back and read that now.
You have to go read it. It's
Yeah,
really good.
yeah. And then the king places a wordstone collar on Dorian. Like this is one of those scenes that you are just holding your breath the entire
Oh
time.
my
It's
god.
so anxiety inducing. It's actually crazy.
That was really hard to read.
It was
It's like, what do you mean?
so
He put a
crazy.
collar on him. It's insane. It's insane. Because
It's
now
insane. Oh my gosh. I'm so upset. Like I'm so upset.
that is pretty much like how it ends.
Dorian was like my one hope. And
Oh my gosh.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how it
Yeah.
ends. And Aelin is on her way back to Adarlan. She is headed to get the key from her old master, a Rowan,
Ooh.
who we have not
Yeah.
met yet, and I'm so excited for that.
Oh yeah, it's something else.
She is going to find Kale, and then she says, quote, she's going to raise the greatest army the world has ever witnessed.
Ooh, I just can't
Her
wait.
and her court. Her and Rowan.
Her court. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The-
Always with the courts.
The last line of this book is just okay. The last two
go ahead.
paragraphs. I'm gonna read it.
Good.
She lifted her face to the stars. She was Aelin Ash River Galathinius, heir of two mighty bloodlines, protector of a once glorious people, and queen of Terrasen. She was Aelin Ash River Galathinius, and she would not be afraid. Close the book! Put the book on the table! That was so good. Oh my god. Ending that book.
Yeah. It like tied up the last book's theme and like this book's theme. Because last book it was like she is Aelin Galathinius. Like that's how the last one ended. And this one it was like she is not afraid. And it's just like kind of merges the two. It's awesome.
So good.
It's awesome.
I love it. And that's how it ends. That's it.
That's it. That's all she wrote. I don't know.
All she wrote.
Well, now what for us? We're gonna give our ratings of the book. Final ratings. I think I have to go like 4.75. Like the ending of this book was just too good. Like it really was. Like there was something dramatic that happened to every single character. And the quotes in this book, getting to see Celaena's past, like it was just it was so good. And while it lagged at points, I think that was just a me problem. I will not blame SJM for that. Like, this was amazing.
Yeah. I really like this book. I get why I used to say that it was my favorite, and it is a really good one. Like, main book, this is so good. I think I give it a 4.5 because it did lag, and I got like a little, I don't want to say bored, but I did get a little bored. Like, there in the beginning / middle-ish. It was just a lot. It was a lot of repetition, but it was so good. It was so good. Like the end where she accepts that she's Aelin. Oh my god, it's amazing. 4.5 for me. Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. Well, that was so much fun, and I am so excited to keep reading Assassin's Blade. Like, I just can't wait to get into her backstory, and I know this is just gonna wreck me.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait either. So we hope that you guys will all read along with us, or maybe you've already read Assassin's Blade because it was the first book you read. But please still listen to our episode. It'll be coming out in 2 weeks, so you have a little bit of time to catch up. And next week's episode, we're just gonna do a funny, like, bookish episode. We're gonna be reading some 1-star Goodreads reviews, and
I cannot wait for this. I think this is gonna be so fun.
This was sparked because we've seen some of these and just could not stop laughing at them the
People
entire
are
time.
brutal, and I can't wait to
They're
read some
so
of them.
brutal. Like, it's all like the Yelp reviewers.
Yeah.
Like, those folks, they're on Goodreads, and they got some stuff to say.
They
It's
do.
amazing.
So tune in to hear us talk about that because it's going to be good. And also be sure to
Yeah.
follow us on all our social media platforms. We will put those in our, I almost said job description, episode description. Find those in the job description and apply to be our biggest fan. Thank you.
Yes, we just hit 1,000 followers on Instagram, so we're very
Woo!
happy about that. And yeah, we just love our little community, and we appreciate you guys so much for reading along with us and listening. And yeah, we're just really grateful. So
Yeah, we will see you next week for 1-star reviews. Until then, happy reading!
happy reading. Bye.